So when you talk about product development, what does that mean? Well, there are hundreds, literally hundreds of different descriptions of the product development process. Everybody has their own concept of what product development is, and everybody's processes for product development are based on their own experience, where they're coming from with respect to product development, and none of them are really magic. I mean, people will tell you they've got the process that works the best for a certain reason. But what I'm going to be talking about today is the common elements among everybody's description of product development, what the breadth is of the undertaking of product development, and considerations around product development that are unique to medical device development in particular. Okay, next. So, medical development, way more than technology. If you look at what companies invest in when they're talking about getting a medical device to market, about 20% is R&D, which is early development through technology development, through prototyping, through builds for trials, the technology development part. The rest, give it another click, is marketing, legal, regulatory, reimbursement, manufacturing and operations, quality assurance, clinical work, and sales and distribution. So it's really sort of an 80-20 thing. And I wanted to really talk about this a little bit because when you are an engineer or a technologist, you tend to think, I have a great idea for how to turn a technology into a medical product, and if I can just build a prototype and find out that it works well, I'm going to be successful. And there is so much more to getting a product to market than just that technology component. And in particular, if you look at these other areas of investment, marketing, legal, regulatory, reimbursement, which is the price point for the product, those areas in particular really don't have that much to do with technology development. The marketing and the legal in particular. The marketing people that work in the medical industry and the legal people that work have to understand technology in order to fulfill their roles, but they're not technical people. So the communication between the technical group and these other people is a critical component to the success of any development. Okay, next. So if you look at the product development process, what are the common elements? What I'm showing here is something like a funnel, because over at the left-hand side is where the ideas are generated. And there are very many ideas that are generated and very few that make it through the product development funnel and actually become a successful commercial product, which would be over at the right-hand side of this picture. I'm also showing at the top a blue sort of schematic process through the development process, and at the bottom a green. And the blue is indicating the technical development side of the development process, and the green, the business side. And so if you look, first of all, at the blue side, which is probably the side we're all more familiar with, the idea generation is the first thing that happens, and then you transfer into understanding what the technical feasibility of that idea is in terms of, is it really going to work? Whatever the function is that you've defined, or the design definition that you've made, is it basically going to work? Then you I'm sorry?
In your estimation, how big is that funnel? How many ideas make it to the next stage, and how many make it to the stage after that?
It's orders of magnitude.
Okay.
So for every product that comes out the other end successfully, there are probably thousands of concepts and hundreds of designs that are defined. And so each phase is a screening process through here. So it's quite a wide funnel. And that's why when commercial companies that have their new product development departments run through a process like this, they establish, where you see the little arrows drawn, they establish what they call stage gates. And at each one of those stage gates, there's a champion for each idea coming into the stage gate, and there's a committee that is screening ideas and, putting them in the recycle bin or transferring them, allowing them to go to the next phase. And so Traditionally, over the years, the product development process has been very focused on harshly screening ideas so that the economic feasibility of carrying a certain number of products all the way to market can be maintained. So it's a logical process, but there are some arbitrary components to it that are based on what the company's budget is for carrying a certain number of products all the way through to launch in a particular year, and also what the goals are for top-line revenue growth. Did that answer your question? Okay. Yes?
And, how early does the green part of the funnel get?
Right at the beginning. That's why I'm showing these things in parallel, because right at the beginning, you have to know whether your idea is unique and whether there's a market that's going to want your idea. If you cannot demonstrate that, even if it's great technology and even if it's something that's a breakthrough concept, if there isn't a practical use for it that is going to be a monetizing event, then the company is not going to carry that forward. It may still receive attention in the R&D department, but it won't move through this product development process. So it's a very the word that keeps coming to mind is a little bit harsh, process of champions who are people in the organization that have that's their baby, right? The product, the concept is their baby, and they're the champion for that, and they're going to try to persuade the committee that it's worth carrying that forward. And the committee is going to be saying, does it hit all these milestones? And those business milestones are the ones in green at the bottom, the very first one being, is it unique? If it's and the uniqueness isn't necessarily that it's a different way of accomplishing the same function. It has to be a differentiating feature. It has to be unique from the standpoint of offering value to the marketplace that whatever is already out there isn't offering. So if you can design a blood analysis meter, let's take a glucose meter. Most people know what those are, right? If you can design a glucose meter that makes an assessment of blood glucose level that's the same as anything that's out there now, but does it using a different technology, unless it's a lot cheaper, it has no other differentiating feature that's going to bring value to the marketplace. So even if it's a new technology being applied, unless you can articulate that in some way it's going to be of greater value, it's not going to make it past that first stage gate.